Taylor, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Thank you very much, Dame Lord. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship as always. The Liberal Democrats are proud of our clear and consistent commitments to legal recognition for humanist marriages, official party policy for the party since 2010. It's a position anchored by a strong tenet of our liberalism, the belief that couples should be able to celebrate their marriage in the way they wish. We believe that all types of marriage ceremonies, whether they be religious, civil, and indeed humanist, should be treated equally under the law. It's the right thing to do and it's the fair thing to do. And it's frankly deeply sad that it is not yet something that has been done in England and Wales. In Scotland, as already been mentioned in this debate, humanist marriages are legally recognised and have been for 20 years, being introduced in 2005 with Liberal Democrats being part of the coalition government that did so. So too are they in Northern Ireland since 2018, Jersey 2019 and Guernsey in 2021. So what we are reckoning with here today is an alarming discrepancy across the British Isles in a crucial aspect of our legal system. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a localist. I believe firmly in devolution of policy, and I recognise that one of the things that makes our country so great is the coexistence of strong and diverse legal traditions and systems. But on this question of what really should be a fundamental right to marry whoever you love in the manner of your choosing, I think it is right that we should look to extend and entrench that right as far and as wide as possible. And all of this is to say nothing of the growing recognition of humanist marriage in other countries with similar legal traditions and who share a Commonwealth history, and indeed a head of state with us, like Australia, New Zealand and Canada. And indeed, it is the latter that I have some intimate knowledge. When I lived in Toronto, in Ontario, Canada, in 2013, I was able to marry my wife in a beautiful ceremony with our choice of officiant in the snow in the bandstand in a park near Niagara Falls. A word of warning, though, during the ceremony, the temperature plunged to -15 degrees. At the end of the ceremony, my eyelashes had frozen shut. It was not explicitly a humanist wedding, but nor was it a religious or strictly civic wedding either. We had the freedom to choose where and by whom we were married, without the need for a second separate official ceremony or registration, something that, as I will come to, humanists are forced to do here in England. We simply had to procure a marriage licence from the City Hall and then wait for the marriage licence to arrive in the post following the ceremony. This ceremony is recognised as a marriage here in the UK, at least I hope it is, and so I think my personal experience might well speak to a further discrepancy in the law, by which I, a British national, have what I believe is a legally recognised non-religious and non-civic marriage, whilst other British nationals in this chamber are not afforded that same right and freedom of choice were they to be wed in England and Wales. As several members have outlined in today's debate, humanism is a proud tradition and its roots stretch back across the centuries, and indeed today it is alive and well in Britain, with around 5% of the population identifying themselves as humanists. That's more than 3 million people, and for the record, Madam Chairman, I am one of them. It is clear, Madam Chair, that the humanist tradition is a well-established one, and that demand for recognition of this kind of marriage is clearly significant. And it's not just humanists who want to see this kind of marriage recognised in law. Polling published just this week by YouGov and Humanist UK shows that 70% of UK adults are in favour of this. And it showed too that this support is widespread and cross-cutting across a wide range of religious groups and political preferences. It is clearly the right thing to do, and it is time for the law to catch up with public sentiment. A sentiment that clearly respects and is permissive of a meaningful, non-religious alternative that aligns with the values of many couples, and that recognises the current situation by which those couples who get a humanist marriage find themselves having to effectively duplicate their enjoyment at a later date, usually in a civil ceremony, is unfair. Recognising that unfairness and treating these marriages equally under the law would be a great step forward for millions and provides legal clarity for couples. The moment is right for this kind of change, because in the last decade and a half we have seen some meaningful revision of our marriage laws, of which the Liberal Democrats are proud to have led the way. The tireless efforts of Liberal Democrat ministers like Baroness Lynn Featherstone were instrumental in getting the Same-Sex Marriage Act passed. I'm so grateful for the hard work of people like Lynn and the countless heroes from the LGBT+ community who made this a reality. Yeah. And it was the Liberal Democrats in government who led the charge to get the ball rolling on recognition of humanist marriages too. In coalition, pressure from the Liberal Democrats resulted in the government proposing what is now Section 14 of the Act, the order-making power that could give legal recognition to humanist marriages at any time. And yet what has followed since then is more than a decade of missed opportunity, as government after government drags their feet on responding to a series of Law Commission reviews. In that time, support for humanist marriages have only grown stronger, and the urgent need for change made ever more clear. This government, who talked a good game in opposition on finally delivering this change by using the Section 14 power, have dithered in their first year. So, Madam Chair, to close, I ask the government to outline their timetable for moving forward with recognising humanist marriages, to explain what considerations they are making about the Law Commission's review into the matter, and particularly tell us why they need more time to consider the change when this issue has been under review for 12 years. I will take advantage of this point to personally call for the right to recognise any marriage conducted by a registered officiant for all other groups too, as I enjoyed in my marriage, because there's no reason that a humanist should have rights that any other group are also denied. Far from being a Las Vegas free-for-all, as the Honourable Member for Morecambe and Lonsdale described somewhat tongue-in-cheek, I see it as a basic choice in a liberal society. If it is your choice to be married by a man dressed in an Elvis Presley costume, then you should have that right, is my opinion. If the government wanted to, they could start making this change tomorrow. They've inherited a state apparatus that has had that power for over a decade, because as has been clearly expressed today, and I close by asking the Minister, I hope she agrees with the need for the change in the law, and I invite her now to say to all of us, I do.
Kieran Mullen, Opposition